Picture this. Your alarm goes off in the morning. You open your eyes but push your phone aside saying, "Just 5 more minutes." Next thing you know, an hour's gone by, and all the things you had to do are still waiting. Laziness sneaks into our lives like a hidden virus. But what if laziness isn't destiny? What if it's just a habit you can actually manage with the right methods? The Stoics point the way here. They say the problem isn't in your character, it's in your thoughts and actions. So instead of accepting laziness as "this is who I am," you can see it as a bad habit and transform it. Today on the Stoic Masculine channel, we're going to talk about exactly that. 5 Stoic ways to tackle laziness. These aren't just vague tips or pretty words. The advice of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus has been opening the doors to disciplined and meaningful living for centuries. Plenty of well-known people have applied these principles, choosing a Stoic approach to organize their lives instead of falling into the "I'll do it later" trap. In this video, I'll share both their stories and the solid tools Stoicism gives us. Starting with the first method, we'll see together how you can break through the wall of laziness. If you're ready, let's jump into the first method and start breaking this cycle. Laziness usually shows up when we're faced with big, intimidating tasks. Writing a novel, starting a workout routine from scratch, or finally tackling that project you've been putting off forever. Here's the trick. When you break those big tasks into small chunks and focus only on one chunk at a time, laziness starts to dissolve on its own. That's exactly what the Stoics suggest. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The consequence of delaying an action is greater trouble." You can see real-life examples of this. Think about J.K. Rowling. When she was writing Harry Potter, she had a full-time job, was taking care of her child, and was struggling financially. Yet she started writing and kept at it by doing a little every day. Sometimes just 15 minutes, sometimes a few pages. Instead of obsessing over the big picture, those small pieces kept her moving forward. Behind that massive series we see today are small, consistent steps. You can apply the same idea to your own life by borrowing from the 2-minute rule in Atomic Habits. The rule says when starting a new habit, limit it to 2 minutes. So if you want to start working out, don't think about hours of exercise. Just move for 2 minutes. If you want to start reading, read for 2 minutes first, and even if you feel like going on, stop there. When you do that, 2 minutes is enough to get you started, and you naturally keep going. Laziness gains strength when you delay, but every small step you take weakens it, and eventually big things get done. Small steps are victories against laziness, and over time, those 2-minute actions grow into major habits. And that brings us to the second method. Moving forward with small steps is important, but knowing exactly which steps to take is just as critical. If you don't set your priorities right, you can waste your time and energy on the wrong pieces. Now let's move on to the second Stoic way to fight laziness. Clarify your priorities and see how to decide what really deserves your focus. Now we're at the most critical part, clarifying your priorities. Taking small steps is great. Starting with 2-minute routines is awesome. But if you don't know exactly which steps to take, all that effort can go to waste. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus said, "Judge me by my actions, not by who I am." In other words, what really matters is what you do and which tasks you prioritize. If you pour your energy into the wrong things, it's not laziness that slows you down. It's lost time and focus. Let's think about an example. A modern man's schedule can be packed. Work, exercise, social life, self-development, hobbies. All of it matters, but you can't do everything at once. Steve Jobs is a perfect illustration of this. When rebuilding Apple, he cut more than 350 products and focused on just a few. He clarified his priorities, filled his days with only the most critical tasks, and ended up creating revolutionary products. You can apply the same idea in your own life. Instead of coming home from work and trying to get everything done, decide on your priorities. What are the 3 truly important things tonight? Maybe it's replying to one email, reviewing a report, and doing a 10-minute workout. Leave the rest for later. That way you make small but meaningful progress. Another tip: make a written list. The Stoics loved journaling and tracking what they did. Open a notebook, write down your tasks, and put the most critical ones at the top. Every item you check off boosts your motivation and breaks the feeling of laziness. Even finishing a small part of a project gives you a sense of progress and pushes you toward the next step. A modern practical twist: use technology and notifications. Add reminders to your phone or computer and line up your daily priorities. But set alerts only for the truly critical tasks. This helps you clarify your priorities while keeping distractions at bay. In short, small steps and habits fight laziness, but knowing which steps to take matters even more. When you clarify your priorities, your energy flows to the right places and laziness naturally fades. Practice this every day and you'll become more productive and disciplined both at work and in your personal life. And now comes the third Stoic method: clearing mental barriers. Because no matter how well you plan and set your priorities, if you don't break through the "this is hard" wall in your mind, taking action will still feel difficult. So let's see together how to smash that barrier. Now we've reached the point in the fight against laziness where most of us struggle the most: mental barriers. You've taken small steps, you've clarified your priorities, but you still can't act because there's a "this is hard" wall in your mind. Seneca said, "Life isn't short, we just waste it." That wall is often built from excuses, fears, or thoughts of "I can't." Real-life examples of this are everywhere. Think of a young entrepreneur who needs to start a project. He thinks his idea has to be perfect, blows every detail out of proportion, and never takes the first step. His mind keeps telling him, "You're not ready yet." This is laziness in its mental form, but awareness and a Stoic approach can break it. Modern men face this constantly. Say you want to start a workout routine at home, but stop yourself with "I'm tired today, it'll be too hard." As James Clear points out, mental barriers are often exaggerated perceptions. Start with a tiny step. Move for just 2 minutes, do 1 push-up, drink a glass of water, and watch how your body responds. Most of the time, once you begin, the barrier disappears even while your mind is still trying to hold you back. Another example, the famous writer Stephen King made writing every day a habit. But he had mental barriers too. Some days he didn't feel like writing. Some days he hit a block. His solution was simple: sit down at the desk anyway. Once he started, the words came. In other words, mental barriers are most often destroyed by action itself. According to the Stoics, laziness is a mental state that can be solved through awareness. It starts by asking yourself daily, is this barrier real, or is it just an excuse I've created in my mind? Question yourself and take action. Starting small and knowing your priorities supports this process, but noticing and removing the mental barrier is the most critical step for consistency and discipline. In short, Without breaking down the "this is hard" wall in your head, real progress is impossible. Small steps and clear priorities are great, but if you don't overcome the mental block, taking action will still feel tough. A practical tip for modern men. In every task, do a small piece first, recognize the barrier, start with action, and keep going. And now we come to the fourth Stoic method, holding yourself accountable. Because even after you've overcome your mental barrier and taken action, if you don't build a system of regular follow-up, laziness can easily creep back in. Let's look at how to do that next. All right, friends, now we've arrived at one of the most powerful tools in the fight against laziness. Holding yourself accountable. You've taken small steps, clarified your priorities, overcome mental barriers. But if you don't track your progress and question yourself, laziness will creep back sooner or later. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is essentially a record of him holding himself accountable every day. He asked himself, "Did I do my duty today? Did I use my time well?" In real life, accountability works too. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was young, he never skipped his bodybuilding workouts. But just going to the gym wasn't enough. Every day he wrote down which muscle group he trained and how many reps he did. By tracking himself, he stayed disciplined and motivated. You can do the same. Use a notebook or an app to log your daily progress. Every completed task is a small victory that boosts your motivation. This is easy to apply in a modern man's life. For example, in work projects, set mini goals for yourself. Did I finish the report by the end of the week? Or did I read 10 pages a day? These little questions force you to evaluate yourself at the end of the day and keep laziness from returning. Another example, financial goals. If you want to save money, track your spending and check it weekly. It builds both awareness and discipline. Accountability isn't limited to writing things down. Sharing responsibility with a friend or family member works just as well. For instance, share your workout routine with a friend and check in with each other weekly. A social accountability system strengthens motivation and consistency. According to the Stoics, the only thing you can truly control is your own behavior. Holding yourself accountable is the most effective way to exercise that control. At the end of each day, ask yourself honestly, did I really do my best today? Did I skip a small step? This simple practice ensures consistency and victory in the fight against laziness. And now we come to the next Stoic method. Remember death, memento mori. Because while holding yourself accountable and staying disciplined matters, when you truly grasp how short life is, the "I'll do it later" trap becomes meaningless. Let's see how to bring this core principle into our modern lives. Now we've reached the most powerful Stoic principle in the fight against laziness. Memento mori. Remember death. It might sound gloomy, but the Stoics didn't see it as simply fearing death. They saw it as a tool to understand the value and urgency of life. Take Seneca as an example. He was a philosopher deeply involved in Roman politics, constantly facing the reality of death. In his writings, he repeatedly emphasized how quickly time passes and how postponing things is essentially wasting life. In his letters, he often wrote, "What you don't do today is a loss of a lifetime." Seneca built the habit of taking small but meaningful actions every single day, writing, teaching his students, and sharing his thoughts. This awareness didn't allow him to procrastinate or fall into laziness. So how can we apply this in modern life? Here are some practical ways. 1. Identify your critical actions for the day. Every morning, write down the 2 or 3 most important tasks you must finish. Like Seneca, treat each day as precious and start with the most meaningful work. 2. See time as limited. Set a specific time block and focus. For example, work only on one project for 90 minutes, then take a short break. This helps you internalize the idea that time is finite. 3. Take small but valuable steps. Don't delay big goals. Instead, take a small action every day. If you're planning to write a book, write just 1 paragraph. If it's a work project, complete 1 section. 4. Practice daily reflection. At the end of the day, ask yourself, did I use my time well today? This daily questioning brings Seneca's discipline and awareness into modern life. 5. Combine habits. Build small routines like reviewing your most important task while drinking your morning coffee or writing down the day's most valuable moments before going to bed. In short, the lesson from Seneca's life is that being aware of death and the limits of time is the strongest tool against laziness. When you apply it through daily habits and conscious action, laziness retreats on its own. And here we are at the end of the road, friends. We've learned 5 Stoic methods. Start small and keep going big. Clarify your priorities. Remove mental barriers. Hold yourself accountable. And remember death. These aren't just theoretical ideas, but tools you can actually apply in your life. Taking small steps, knowing your priorities, overcoming the obstacles in your mind, holding yourself accountable for your actions, and remembering the limits of life. When all of these come together, they form a real shield against laziness. Remember, Stoicism isn't just an ancient philosophy, it's also a set of methods that can guide you through the chaos of modern life. As Seneca taught us, time passes quickly and procrastination only leaves you behind. Small but meaningful steps combined with awareness and discipline bring great progress at the end of the day. It's not hard to put this into practice in your own life. Take 1 small step every day. Prioritize your most critical tasks. Break down the hard wall in your mind. Hold yourself accountable for every task you complete, and never forget that life is finite. This awareness completely neutralizes the trap of procrastination and laziness. Finally, remember this: you don't have to be perfect. What matters is moving forward and trying to be better every single day. Small victories accumulate into great successes. Apply what you've learned today, review it tomorrow, and watch your own growth. The strongest side of Stoicism is that it offers constant guidance. Now get up and take the first step. Do something, even if it's small, know your priorities, and don't waste your time. Because life passes quickly even if you don't notice it. And every day is the most precious gift you're given. Thank you for watching.